Hey there gamers, welcome back to CybercomGaming. My name is John, and for this video we're gonna be looking at some of my favorite gaming remakes. Classic titles that got brought back into the modern era with sharp visuals, refined gameplay, while still being able to bring that classic nostalgia. Now, these videos are always tough to make as all of us have different perspectives and experiences when it comes to gaming, and that's all good, but yeah, for this video, I hope you guys will like some of these listings. As always, let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are. But yeah, I thought of getting together 15 of my favorite gaming remakes. So it's in no particular order, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy this one. Thank you for watching. Let's go get it. Alright gamers, we're getting this one started for number 1. And I've got Resident Evil 4 Remake, which was straight up fire. From that creepy village to the dudes with chainsaws to the gameplay and the iconic over-the-shoulder view, which Resident Evil 4 helped to popularize. I mean, Capcom released many cool games, but this one just has to be up there. And look, the remake captured that same lighting in the bottle, while somehow elevating that horror creepy feel with sharp 4K visuals, tight, modernized controls where Leon can now move and use his weapon at the same time, and the parrying mechanic, and yeah, just everything adds to that overall experience. For sure, a solid remake, and you know, this one just stayed true to the original and a must play for many gamers who have not played this game before, so yeah, consider checking it out. For the number 2 slot, I've got Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which is just pure nostalgia, man. Look, I loved OG Crash games and also equally loved this remake. It was truly well done and managed to capture that original feel while crisping up the visuals, and you know, from the boulder and polar bear chases to trying to get away from Tiny Tiger and yeah, trying not to be kissed by a frog. Look man, these were brutal platformers, which there's an obvious shout out to Road to Nowhere, The Lab, those added lost levels, Stormy Ascend, yeah, look, that's a completely different story, but overall, these were great remakes, which helped to spark a pretty solid sequel as well, and it got some new Crash fans, but yeah, big ups to Vicarious Visions for capturing that spirit of the original and you know, the heart that made these games so great. Man, it was just so cool to play these childhood classics and to re-experience them again on the PS4. So Silent Hill 2 Remake comes in at number 3, and this game, I always held this game in high regard, and the Bluebird team did a fantastic job bringing this 2001 classic back. You know, the team nailed that foggy, eerie Silent Hill vibe with attention to detail, cutscenes, gameplay, and, you know, playing as James Sunderland, who's searching for his lost wife. This remake on the PS5 just makes that entire experience of replaying Silent Hill well worth it, and just a welcome trip down memory lane. It's also cool to know that they are also remaking the first game, which I loved playing as a kid, so but yeah, definitely can't wait to play that one. But yeah, consider checking out Silent Hill 2 Remake if you have not done so already. Definitely a game to experience again. For number 4, I've got Final Fantasy VII Remake. But for this one, I'll also include Rebirth under the same placing, but Final Fantasy VII, it's just a special game, and one of those games everyone that I know, all the gamers that I know, just grew up with playing. Man, these are solid remakes, breaking the original Final Fantasy VII into 3 parts, from expanding the story, adding new elements, featuring that real-time combat versus that traditional turn-based, just completely overhauled the experience. And visually, I mean, the graphics, just everything about these remakes are freaking awesome. So if not already, you have to check out these games. So yeah. Now, if there's one remake that needs to be on this list, it's Resident Evil 2 Remake, coming in by number 5. And Oh, what a game. Resident Evil 2 on the PS1 was one of my favorite games growing up. The original's fixed camera angles were completely transformed into a refined over-the-shoulder perspective, enhanced gameplay and sharp graphics while retaining the core story, characters and those iconic environments. Look, it's still got that original, that Resident Evil 2 soul, but it's way more intense with freaking Mr. X stomping around and the zombies bursting through doors and the zombies itself, but it's weirdly familiar, but it's got a brand new experience and just one of my favorites. Can't wait to play Resident Evil 9 Requiem, which drops next year, but it looks pretty cool, and apparently it's gonna be a much older Leon S. Kennedy involved, so yeah, keen to experience that and check the story out, but yeah, if not already, you guys need to check out Resident Evil 2 Remake.
This is not how I imagined my first day.
Alright, so for the 6th game, I've got Demon Souls for the PS5, and Blue Point's 4K visuals and haptic feedback just made every death, and there were a lot of death, just hit so much harder. I remember raging at Flame Lurker on the PS3 and yeah, good times. With that great atmosphere, elevated visuals and technical improvements over the original, this game will keep you on the edge. And I love From Software games, especially Bloodborne, which is just one of the greatest games ever, and this game deserves a remake. Or a remaster, but look, Demon Souls Remake from Blue Point Games is a vibe. It's tough, addictive, and a must-play. So heading for number 7, I'm including Dead Space, and what a return. Dead Space is a straight scare fest. Motive gutted the 2008 horror icon and rebuilt the USG Ishimura from the ground up. Bro, it's intense, and so are those freaking necromorphs. Hell no, look, what a great experience to be back as Isaac Clarke and, you know, just kicking back and dismembering necromorphs, and it's still a classic horror game and still one that haunts many gamers, just like it did back in the day. The PS5's 3D audio turns every little sound into a panic trigger that jump scares around the corners, shadows, and man, this remake is darker, it's meaner, and it's still a masterclass in horror, for sure, a classic. The Last of Us Part 1 comes in at number 8, and I can't believe with the freaking original launched back in 2013, and look, it's one of the greatest PlayStation 3 games ever made. I appreciate the second one, but I felt like that yes, they could have done a completely different, could have taken a completely different direction with the story, but anyway, look, I loved Naughty Dog back in the day. They made some of my favorite game franchises, from Crash Bandicoot, obviously, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, to this classic. This remake just really amplified that experience, from the graphics, especially the character models, to the tighter controls and haptic feedback, which really leveled up Joel and Ellie's brutal journey. Just every encounter felt more intense. Look, it's well understood that The Last of Us is a classic. It's this was actually a real good remake, well worth re-experiencing that journey again, and yeah, look, Joel will always be the man. Okay, so for number 9, I've got Crash Team Racing Nitro Field. Come on, kart racers, there's not a discussion that does not involve Crash Team Racing, especially, you know, the original OG on the PS1. Bro, I got so much love for that original game. So naturally, this remake was gonna hit right in the feels, from the slick visuals, online sessions, to the many new characters, tracks, bonuses, and this remake's razor sharp drifts and 4K pop on the PS5 and Xbox Series X makes every boost and missile hit feel so much more satisfying. It's a remake done well with those same tight controls and quirks, and it's just a classic, fun kart racer that's just, it just needed to be on this list. Alright gamers, for number 10 we need Shadow of the Colossus, the 2018 remake. It's still a haunting masterpiece from Blue Point, which recrafted, you know, that 2005 PS2 classic. I mean, scaling glossy as a kid, it just felt mystic, but this version redefined that experience. The controls, raw emotion, just it's different, it's beautiful. And I remember reading somewhere someone describing Shadow of the Colossus as less of a game and more of a journey, and I just couldn't agree more. It's definitely one of the greatest. Alright, so for number 11, I'm including The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening on the Switch, and it's a remake of the 93 Game Boy title, and taking those pixels and reworking it, and the results, somehow toy box aesthetic, and it strangely worked. It's a super fun game. We actually played this one on the channel, so consider checking that playthrough out. But yeah, it's a great remake, polished controls, quirky charm, and it's just an easy pick up and play type of game for everyone, young and old, and just a solid bite-sized adventure. That's very cleverly done. Okay, so for number 12, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, Vicarious Visions again took the reins and successfully brought these legendary skateboarding games back, keeping that original combos, punk vibes, and adding on online play. It's a current gen package that kept me grinding for hours. I loved Pro Skater 1 and 2 as a kid, and it was just such fun games, and even better soundtrack. Just everything rebuilt from the ground up, from that even sharper moves and crisp visuals. And bro, what could be said more about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2? That's not already been said. It's just a welcome return to some of gaming's best, and I can't wait for Pro Skater 3 and 4 to drop real soon. And yeah, next up, those SSX games, man. SSX and SSX Tricky. Those two games needs to make a comeback. And but yeah, look, that's a video for another time. Alright, so if you're like me and you absolutely loved playing Half-Life and your good old White Tower PZ back in the day, then I know you'd appreciate this placement. And yeah, I'm 100% including this fan-made gem, Black Mesa, coming in by number 13. Crowbar Collective, big ups to these guys for bringing this classic game back and playing as Gordon, and with a whole reimagined experience. I just can't believe Valve is still not doing anything with Half-Life at this point. And but yeah, look, these guys managed to successfully level up that original Half-Life, released back in '98 with the Source engine, with reimagined Zen levels, graphics and effects, and even updating the enemy AI. Bro, this is a must-play game and definitely a love letter to all the Half-Life fans out there. you know there's got to be some Spyro Reignited trilogy coming in at number 14, and Toys for Bob smashed this remake package for the first 3 PS1 Spyro games. I love replaying these childhood classics with those pastel colors, smooth controls, and gliding through the artisan's world again. What's so nostalgic? Playing Spyro, Crash, Zelda, Ocarina of Time just was always such childhood escape. I mean, from torching sheep to snagging gems, like, it feels timeless with a soundtrack that's still sharp. Pro Spyro is a classic, and again, it's just like a sequel that needs to happen. It's about that time. Also, Jak and Daxter, that franchise also needs to make a comeback. But yeah, look, so many cool memories playing Spyro, and it was, again, so awesome to replay these games again. Right, so before we get to the final spot, I wanted to give a shout out to a few more titles. Even though they're not on this list, these are still some great games and awesome remakes. So yeah, it's worth a mention. Hope you guys enjoy. Right, gamers, for the final slot and sitting at number 15, I needed to include Croc, Legend of the Cobos, and I've got such a strong connection playing Croc. I loved this game as a kid, and Croc 2 as well, and Argonaut Games they polished this 97 PS1 platformer with bright visuals and way better controls. I mean, those stand controls, it was fun back in the day, but man, I'm just so glad this game is back. Just replaying Croc and Croc's revival, this is just such a well-deserved game. I always said that this is an underrated platformer, and man, it's just so cool to replay this remake. It's light, it's fun, it keeps the spirit of the original game while also adding that vibrant flair. Glad this game came back, and hopefully we get to see that Croc 2 also make a comeback real soon. Alright gamers, that is my 15 favorite gaming remakes. What's your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. Obviously it's very subjective. All of us, again, have different experiences and upbringings, and we, grow up playing different games and have stronger connections with different titles, etc. But yeah, to me, obviously these games has got a strong connection. I grew up playing these titles, so it was cool to re-experience them again. But yeah, not only that, it's cool to kind of see some of these classics being revived and being able to be remade into the current platforms, and from the new generations to come and experience some of these awesome games we grew up with and we played long ago. So yeah, let me know your thoughts below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, see ya.